It's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che here to provide you with the latest. Let us begin with the headlines. President Park Geun-hye holds her first cabinet meeting after a brisk timeout. Other than the economy, the main focus is the THAAD deployment decision, which she emphasizes is necessary for national security. For the 12th consecutive year, Japan issues its defense white paper with claims over Korea's Dokdo islets. Seoul once again condemns such false statement and urges Tokyo to correct it. Volkswagen pays a hefty price in Korea for its emissions rigging fiasco as the government confirms that sales certifications for dozens of models are revoked. Back at work after a short vacation, President Park Geun-hye held a cabinet meeting this morning. She laid out her thoughts on a range of current issues, including the economy and, of course, the THAAD deployment decision. Song Ji-sun has our top story.
The president marked her return from her holiday by encouraging Koreans to vacation in the country just as she did last week. President Park noted that the Korean economy is showing signs of recovery, growing 3.2% in the second quarter from last year, close to its potential growth rate. Putting emphasis on our drives to revive the economy and boost domestic demand, the president called on lawmakers to move forward with the government's fiscal stimulus proposal, saying a delay will not create jobs in a timely manner when there is a massive number of layoffs in the forecast following the government's corporate restructuring drive.
이번 추경 예산이 통과가 되면 6만 8천 개의 일자리를 창출할 수가 있는데 추경 처리가 늦어져서 효과가 바로 나타나지 않는다면 실직 위험에 직면한 근로자들의 불안이 커질 수밖에 없습니다.
President Park also touched on the chosen location for the missile defense system, THAAD. She stressed that Seoul and Washington's decision to deploy THAAD in Seongju, Gyeongsangbuk-do province, is aimed at protecting the public against North Korea's rising nuclear and missile threats and called for national unity on security issues.
이제 저에게 남은 유일한 소명은 대통령으로서 나아가 나라와 국민을 각종 위협으로부터 안전하게 지켜내는 것입니다. 그것을 위해서 전 세계의 국가들을 설득해서 북한이 핵과 미사일을 포기하도록 북한에 대한 지원을 끊고 우리나라와 긴밀히 공조하도록 만들고 있습니다.
President Park vowed to sit down with Seongju governor and local lawmakers to hear their opinions on the matter, while also pledging to continue her field visits to assess how well her policies are working to boost local economies. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
On the subject of THAAD, Korea's political parties continue to be at loggerheads. Saenuri in full support of the U.S. missile defense system, Minju somewhat neutral but concerned, the People's Party expressing strong opposition. Kim Jong-un zooms in on the heated debate at the National Assembly.
The ruling Saenuri Party says THAAD is the best option for effectively deterring North Korea's growing nuclear missile threats, in a gesture of support for President Park Geun-hye's renewed appeal on Tuesday for the planned deployment.
The U.S. nuclear umbrella doesn't come without a cost. A robust South Korea-U.S. alliance is a must. If the opposition bloc continues to oppose THAAD, it will damage the alliance.
The Saenuri floor leader called on the opposition parties to remember that President Roh Moo-hyun decided to dispatch South Korean troops to Iraq amid strong national opposition in 2003 in order to preserve the South Korea-U.S. alliance. The minor opposition People's Party said it is even more determined to block THAAD after visiting residents in Seongju, the planned deployment site, on Monday.
President Park Geun-hye should withdraw THAAD deployment or else work with Parliament to resolve the matter. The president should go to Seongju and listen to the people's voices.
The interim leader said he agrees with the citizens of Seongju that THAAD goes against the national interest and could ruin peace and stability on the Korean peninsula. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea, which remains neutral about the THAAD deployment, voiced concern about the possibility of retaliation from China, which is deeply opposed to the missile defense system. The Minju Party said Beijing is moving to ban Korean dramas from broadcast in China and wants to prevent Korean celebrities from appearing on Chinese variety shows. The party also said Beijing is trying to delay approval for the creation of new TV programs created in collaborative projects between the two countries. Although the opposition parties haven't been able to find common ground on THAAD, they have both voiced concern that the deployment could pave the way for a permanent separation of the two Koreas. Kim Jong-un, Arirang News.
THAAD will be operated in a way that won't pose any health threats to the public. One station in Korea, that's the reassurance coming from the commander of the U.S. Forces Korea. He also called for improved military information sharing between South Korea and other countries to better tackle North Korean threats. Kim Min-ji shares with us General Vincent Brooks's viewpoints on the defense upgrades.
The commander of the U.S. Forces Korea says the decision to deploy the U.S. THAAD system to South Korea is the right move in light of growing provocations from North Korea. Speaking at a seminar hosted by the Korea Institute for Defense Analyses, General Vincent Brooks says the THAAD battery will be able to step up South Korea's defense capability.
We need to increase the layers of air and missile defense to counter the growing arsenal of missiles in North Korea. THAAD will add area protection and increase the ability to intercept at higher altitudes than we can without THAAD.
Seoul and Washington announced last month that they would deploy the THAAD system to Seongju, a county in the southeastern part of South Korea. But residents in the area have strongly opposed the deployment, calling for the annulment of the bilateral decision, driven by concerns the system's radar could affect their health as well as their core businesses. The four-star commander cited his experience regarding the deployment of such system in the past, saying it will not pose any harm to local residents.
When it comes to the safety in and around the radar system, no one will be closer to that radar than the soldiers underneath of my command. And I would not recklessly endanger those soldiers while they're protecting someone else. Neither would I allow them to endanger someone else they're trying to protect.
Saying that Seongju has the best possible footprint, he said facts regarding the battery need to be explained to the public so they can accept the deployment. As for the protection of Seoul and the metropolitan area, the commander said he will continue to procure Patriot PAC-3 advanced missiles to further enhance the layered defense system of which THAAD is part of. On top of that, Brooks said that South Korea should also step up sharing military information with countries beyond their alliance to better react to threats from Pyongyang. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea reloads and launches another strong response to Japan's continued claim to the Korea-controlled Dokdo. The latest misguided claims to the islets comes in Tokyo's annual defense white paper. Seoul's defense and foreign ministries quickly issued statements reasserting Dokdo is Korean territory. Kim Yeon-bin tells us more.
Korea's defense ministry has urged Japan to withdraw all of its false territorial claims to the Korea-controlled Dokdo Islets, after Tokyo again renewed its claim to the Rocky Islets in its annual defense white paper on Tuesday. This is the 12th consecutive year Tokyo has made a claim in the document.
We strongly protest Japan's false claim to Dokdo in their defense white paper and urge Tokyo to correct it. If Japan continues to claim Dokdo, we'll certainly counter the action and move to secure our sovereign territory.
The ministry also summoned a defensive attaché from the Japanese embassy in Seoul and submitted a formal protest against the document. Korea's foreign ministry also released a statement in which it said that Dokdo is Korean territory and expressed a strong protest against Tokyo's, quote, unjust claims. The ministry urged Japan to look at historical facts and actively contribute to improving Korea-Japan ties based on mutual trust. Dokdo lies in closer proximity to Korea than Japan in the East Sea between the two countries and has long been a source of tension between the two neighbors. Experts believe Tokyo's renewed claim is likely to have an adverse effect on relations between Korea and Japan. Kim Yeon-bin, Arirang News.
A new report shows the number of North Koreans defecting to the South has shot up this year, the first time the number has increased since the regime's leader Kim Jong-un came to power around 4.5 years ago. For a closer look on what might be leading to the exodus, here's Connie Kim.
The declining trend of North Koreans fleeing the regime since young Kim Jong-un rose to power has taken a turnaround this year. Seoul's Unification Ministry said Tuesday about 815 North Koreans entered the south in the first 7 months of this year, up more than 15.5% from the same period last year. Looking at the past, the number of North Koreans fleeing to the south every year dropped to less than half last year from when Kim took the helm in 2011. Most experts on North Korea say an increasing number of people in the north may be expressing dissatisfaction against the dictatorial regime and desiring new opportunities after finding out through South Korean media better means to live. A Unification Ministry official also said the jump in the number of defectors could be the result of more North Koreans already staying in China deciding to enter the south. What's also noteworthy is the number of well-off North Koreans working abroad has reportedly increased this year. These workers, part of the North's middle class, are set to send up to 90% of their monthly income back to Pyongyang. There's speculation the strongest to date UN sanctions adopted against the North following its nuclear missile provocations early this year have choked cash flows into Pyongyang and destabilized the regime.
With international sanctions on the North in full swing, it seems an increasing number of North Korean workers abroad are deciding to defect, as they are afraid of the punishment they could get if they don't fulfill the quota to send back to North Korea.
Just a few months ago, more than a dozen North Koreans working at a restaurant in China defected en masse to South Korea in an unprecedented case. With more North Koreans expected to arrive in South Korea in the coming months, experts forecast the number of North Korean defectors could exceed 30,000 by October. Kim, Arirang News.
South Korea's Environment Ministry confirmed it's suspending sales of scores of Volkswagen and Audi models sold in the country. The models in question were caught up in an escalating scandal involving false claims over emissions, fuel efficiency, and noise levels. Lee Ji-won has the details.
The Environment Ministry on Tuesday nullified the certifications of vehicles imported to the country by Audi Volkswagen Korea.
The Ministry of Environment revokes the certifications for 80 submodels of 32 models.
The cars can't be sold without the certifications, and the decision affects 83,000 cars in Korea that have already been sold, while sales of 11,000 cars will be banned. This comes after the ministry held a hearing last week where officials representing the automaker explained Volkswagen's position on the government's push to suspend sales. Although the German auto giant voluntarily suspended sales prior to that hearing, it denied any manipulation of emissions levels but acknowledged making errors on test documents. But after the hearing and review, the ministry confirmed the sales suspension for 80 submodels and fined Audi Volkswagen Korea $16 million. It also plans to recall an unspecified number of vehicles to be announced at a later date. The government had already been moving to enforce a sales ban on the vehicles in question, including the Golf, Jetta TDI, Audi A6, and other diesel and gasoline models, saying test documents for emissions and noise levels were forged in order to get the certifications. After a final review, the ministry took out 2 overlapping models and added 3, the Audi A3, A8, and A8L. Audi Volkswagen Korea is already seeing its sales plunge in Korea, and it can't register new cars for sale, which will have an even bigger impact. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.
Moving over to the tech realm, Samsung Electronics is the leader in the global smartphone market, taking a 21.4% bite out of that pie. According to Counterpoint Research, the Korean tech titan sold over 77 million smartphones during the second quarter, a 3.4% increase from the year before. The company's market share also ticked up 0.1% during that period. Analysts say Samsung's new Galaxy S7 series was received extremely well in the premium devices market, and that provided the needed boost. Rival Apple was runner-up but saw its second quarter shipments slide 15% to 40 million units, while its market share dropped to 11.2%. The dark horse is China's Huawei Technologies, taking third place with 32 million units sold and a market share of 8.9%. Sports Illustrated released its projected medal count for the upcoming Summer Olympics. A potential golden harvest awaits Team South Korea, and that's adding some extra excitement to the global games. But with just 3 days to go, there are lingering questions about whether Brazil will ever be ready to play proper host in time. Yoon Shin has the latest buzz surrounding the Rio Olympics.
Team Korea is on track to reach its goal of bringing home 10 gold medals for a top 10 finish at this year's Rio Olympics, if the predictions by an acclaimed American sports magazine come true. Sports Illustrated has released its medal predictions for all 196 countries in all 306 events. Korea is expected to grab 10 gold, 11 silver, and 10 bronze medals for a 9th place finish overall. The magazine predicts Korea will continue its winning streak in archery with gold and silver in both the men's and women's events and gold in the team competition. The country is also expected to pick up a smattering of medals in judo, badminton, and taekwondo, but no gold for the athletes practicing Korea's traditional martial art. The magazine projects the United States and China will take home the biggest medal haul this year with 45 golds each. More than 500,000 sports fans are descending on Brazil as we speak, giving the country's embattled economy a much-needed boost. But amid the excitement, there are still lingering concerns about the host city's new subway line, which was initiated to shuttle visitors from all over the world to Olympic events. It's one of the main legacy projects of the Games, but it's reportedly still not complete. Fleets of buses have been organized as a backup transportation mode. The delay is just one of a long list of problems for Brazil ahead of the main event, which is scheduled for 8 p.m. on Friday with more than 10,000 participating athletes. In honor of the birthplace of the Games, Greece will be first in the parade of nations that kicks things off, followed by other countries in order according to the Brazilian-Portuguese alphabet, which makes South Korea 52nd. The question is, though, will they be ready? Yoon Shin, Arirang News.
And that concludes our newscast for this hour. As always, thank you for watching.